This 420 Army, just another Outlast video. This is going to be much of that video. We're going to talk about the documents that are found throughout the asylum, in both the main campaign and the Whistleblower DLC. I'm also going to exclude the Whistleblower document because that is the email that Wayland Park sent Miles Upshur, or them to come to the asylum. So, I did make Google Documents with all these documents, with all of them in Google Docs, with all the documents in there. I'll put links down in the description, including the Project NQ Ultra ones, even though we won't cover those up. Because you can always assume that they were written before the asylum closed, and they destroyed all the MQ Ultra files, except for those 4. But yeah. For starters, I think we should start with Dr. Wernicke documents. We have Dr. Wernicke death. These, I don't know who these could have been written by, aside from various Dr. Wernicke death obituary. I don't know who could have wrote that. Everything's so thin. Obituary. This is okay. These first 2 Dr. Wernicke's are found the documents around the prison block. Obituary and death certificate, I think. Yeah. How's this get in a prison cell? Did one of the patients grab it, or was someone carrying the document on him when he walked in the cell, and the patient in the cell just killed him? Oh, this is dark as fuck. Alan. Yeah, these mention Alan Turing. Apparently he worked. I think I did see a little bit of that movie, The Imitation Game, with Benedict Cumberbatch as Alan Turing, and I know Keira Knightley was in that movie, but I can't remember the name of her character. I saw a little bit of that. I didn't see the whole thing though. Spirit Rage. This is the whistle. This is after he drops down from the bed and return to the administration block right after he gets away from Chris Walker. But these Dr. Wernicke documents, they could have been written and tried with Chris Young, Dr. Monsters, Martin Prometheus, Beyond Hope. Where's permission to proceed? Yeah, we're not going to go through all of them because that'd just take forever. Emails to colleagues. Resignation of Wayland Park. I think this could have been written when when Wayland Park first started working at the asylum. Jeremy Blair wrote this document, sent it to Helen Grant, one of the workers at Mount Massive who was mentioned. Except we don't know when exactly Wayland started working at the asylum, unless it said that somewhere in the Outlast comic. I do use the Outlast comic, and problems with the wiki, although sometimes problems using the Outlast wiki is that they'll keep changing the story on you, and then you don't know which one to trust. I've literally happened before, and that's why I said in my original Outlast timeline video, Wayland was in the recreation area when Miles arrived at the asylum, and that ended up being false. So, you know what, I'm just gonna scrap those 2 so obvious versions. We're gonna say Miles arrived when after Wayland got gassed by Eddie Gluskin. That's when Miles arrived to the asylum. Wallwire delusion. This is down in the recreation area, I think, in that tower. Mysterious Prophets. Oh yeah, this document actually confirmed that before Richard Traeger was remember as a patient, he was actually friends with Jeremy Blair, so I think he was also head of legal department. It did say that in the Outlast comic, I know that. I'll have to check that again, see what Traeger was the head of before he was interned as a patient. It's like, Jeremy, Traeger was your best friend and you turned him into a patient. Did he? It basically says that Traeger and Jeremy, or Rick and Jer as they called each other, they played golf, probably even before they opened the asylum. They used to play golf. And keep in mind they opened in 2009. Whoa. of Billy's Dreams. This was written by William Hope. Prehistorical Delusions. Traeger wrote this one to P. Walsh. I know a lot of the first names were mentioned. P. Walsh. Basically, some guy named David Annapurna, that was the guy's name. He was basically similar to Whalen. He used to work for Whalen and Traeger. Worked at the asylum before he was processed as a patient himself, although... Does Whalen really count as a patient? Because before the experiment was even fully done, that's when he managed to escape from the chair in the hospital and decided to expose Murkoff. Necrolizing Fascists. This one also says... Yeah. Request for reassignment. This is that David Annapurna guy wanting to quit because he doesn't want to work at the asylum anymore. I think. Yeah. Patient and Project Wallrider documents. For Project Wallrider, patient status report for William Hope. This one kind of gets me confused as to the dates. It says that he started consultations on April 12th of 2009, which is literally the year the asylum reopened. So basically, okay, I'm just gonna assume that like the asylum really reopened on January 1st of 2009 by Murkoff, and that's when they started doing all their illegal experiments. Well, you also been in the asylum for like a long time. Jesus, how did it take you that long to become a perfect wall rider? You started in April of 2009, and your consultation was dated on October 14th of 2012. That's when you were dated, and I'm not going to read the document, but basically it says that biometry had no bronchoaccumulation. Basically, bronchoaccumulation means like if you'd be able to become the wall rider, that means you probably fail. But then, until September 17th of 2013, which is when the Mount of Slaughter started, they put William in a pod and succeeded, and that's when that caused all the people to start killing everybody. But yeah. Oh, this one even mentions Traeger. And this is literally like the first document found in the game once you enter the asylum, not counting the Whistleblower, because we're obviously excluding that one. And then Project Warrider patient status report for Frank Manera. Oh yeah, Frank started Project Warrider, started this before Chris Walker did. Now, for a while, when I first saw this document, I was like, how the hell would Frank get all the way to the underground lab from the hospital? But then, I didn't realize this. Someone even commented on one of my timeline finish videos. He's like, patients could have been moved around a ton. And I was like, oh, so it says that Frank started on November 1st of 2010. I had that memorized. And his consultation was dated on August 29th of 2012. Both you and William were in 2012. Wow. And obviously, just judging from what it says in here, he would have had to have been like, would he have been like in the hospital in between his Project Wallrider sessions? And where would William have been during his Project Wallrider sessions? Because it says he started April 2009. That's what I'm curious about. Heavy bronchoaccumulation, so he definitely failed. Wah, wah, wah. Sorry, a little SpongeBob reference. That was on you probably remember that SpongeBob episode, but back to this. He smoked marijuana and tobacco. That's what it says. Whoa. Frank was down to 155 pounds from his admission weight of 228 pounds. So, 228 pounds dropped to 155. Trying to do the math. That would be about 228. That'd be like almost 70 or 60 to 70 pounds. Jesus, Frank. You really have to gain weight. Drinking bold from the chest of sleeping men, he refuses to bathe. Such a force new Nutrition is recommended for Mr. Monero if we cannot find something he likes to eat. Yeah, but he's a cannibal. Of course he's gonna eat human flesh. That's all he eats. No wonder you lost so much weight. How do you lose like 70 pounds? I have never seen someone drop that much unless they were like... Okay. Who the fuck drops from 228 pounds to 155 pounds? And then Project Warrider Pieces Status report for Chris Walker. Oh yeah, forgot to do the numbers. Frank's case number was 209, Williams 174, Chris 136. So when William was placed in morphology again with the computer say patient initials WPH Billy, because basically for Frank it would say Frank Antonio Monero he's in a pod. Because when Eddie Gluskin was put in the pod, it said his case number 136, so I had that memorized and just said Eddie Gluskin was in the pod, all those tubes hooked up to him. But how would Chris even fit in a pod due to how big he is? CLW Walker, obviously dated on 2013. No, May 28th of 2013, that's when it was dated. Except the Outlast comic says that he was admitted to the asylum in 2009, which is the year it opened, and he actually worked for the Murkoff security line at Murkoff before he was interned as a patient. So now we have 4 guys who have worked at Murkoff who are interpreted as patients. So it was Traeger, Chris, Steve Annapura, and Waylon. Those 4, even though Waylon escaped before he could become a patient. Like Traeger, Chris, and David. Yeah. But then, so with... My question is this. Was Chris kept in the prison block throughout, like, the entire year of 2009-2010? Because it says that he didn't start consultations for Project Warrider until, January 28th of 2011. If you were to believe that Chris was in the prison block, or maybe he didn't, maybe he wasn't moved to the prison block right away as soon as he got admitted to the asylum. Like maybe he could have been in like the male ward or the hospital, and then moved to the prison block after they processed him through. Oh yes, Spyro revealed light to medium bronchial accumulation, so he probably wouldn't have become a wall rider anyway, even though it ended up... Yeah, just... Interview notes. He was interviewed in restraints following his self-inflicted mutilations. Yeah, that could explain the chains he has on his wrists and ankles. Those are probably the restraints. And they had to be altered to accommodate his enormous size. Have you seen how big he is? Failed morphic. He claims that he has about his flesh. Expressed anxiety about his flesh. Specific. If you look at him close, you'll see that his lips and nose are completely gone. Plus, he also has that device that colors his lips like dust, so he's kind of already sneering. It must have like melted into his. It must have melted into his skin during all those experiments. That's why he can't even remove it. For Eddie Gluskin, even though the Outlast wiki says it's 4 is replaced with of, I checked this in the game and it says 4. Another thing the wiki got wrong. But yeah, case number 196, it just says patient Eddie Gluskin. It even said that same thing when we see him in the pod in the beginning of the Whistleblower DLC. So basically what William, Chris, and Frank had in their patient files, it probably said that. What was written for like their patient initials and their full name. Consultation was dated June 9th of 2013. Wow. So then they probably decided to take him for another spin the day of the slaughter. And he started Yep, February 14th, 2013. Wow. You were the last one. You know, it says in here that he had some restraints in this, but, cost report. This is the document where Traeger was in the mail ward and a patient died. Assume he probably wrote this. Profitability report. This is in the admin block. Basically every other document that Traeger wrote, you could assume he was before he got fired and became a patient. So basically they're like, Mr. What do you go by, Mr. Traeger? I think you go by Dr. Traeger, not Mr. Traeger. I'm still thinking of Friends, where the superintendent on that show literally had the same last name as Traeger. It's like, seriously. I wonder if they just copy-pasted off Friends. Same last name, even though he was kind of an asshole. Seriously. Yep. Father Martin finger painter. Obviously, this proves Father Martin was a patient too. He just finger paints. Variant post-mortem. These could have been guys in the underground lab. Random patients in the underground lab. Or part of Project Walrider. 3 blind dreamers. Same for this one. Underground lab. Dudes who were being tested for Project Walrider. And the cells, they could just... I was told this too, but they could have just been for temporarily purposes, because you wouldn't expect your patients to sleep on the floor, would you? Literally, if you check the cells, the only thing in there is a toilet. It's like, I can, at least now I don't have to worry about picturing the patients having to sleep on the floor. Have you tried sleeping on the floor before? It's extremely painful unless you have a sleeping bag. I would not let my patients sleep on the floor if I worked at an asylum. Patient dentist, this guy was in the vocational block. So, it doesn't show whether or not purge deep maintenance. Oh, this is another Walrider Nightmares. Again, you could assume that Dennis was either in the... I would assume the mail ward, because that's the closest vocational block. And, yeah. And then we're on to miscellaneous documents. We have warrant for seizure. I don't know how these I don't know where these would fit in. Gospel of Sand, Father Martin wrote this. Still bleeding. Who wrote this document? Who wrote still bleeding? Was it the dead patient you find in the room where you can pick this up? Okay, whoever wrote this was in the mail ward. Own personal cavalry. Father Martin wrote this when Miles arrived. Project Paperclip. Why was the Project Paperclip excerpt document written? Who even wrote that? Gospel of Judas, Father Martin wrote. Morphogenic engine repercussions. Obviously, that's so that way people would know how to use the morphogenic engine when they put a patient in there. That's why they have the instructions like literally right next to the control panel. And that's why I always pick that document up when I play the game. Especially when I did a stream. I actually did an insane speedrun on my Twitch a while back in October, and I passed. Basically, electric supply, solar generator. Is that the valve that Miles turns so he can kill William Hope? And then he runs to the... No, that's the room where he used to make that jump and he pulls all the wires out. Then there's the valve, and then... Permission to proceed. Ah, there it is. I was wondering where that was. Gender selection among massive contractors. This could have been an email to Kali, but mentions that 7 women were pregnant. There was even a woman named Michelle Hoff in the Outlast comic who got pregnant, so... Do you think it was the machine that... If it was the morphogenic engine that made her pregnant, or was it Traeger? People say it was Traeger who got her pregnant. Either him or the morphogenic engine. God and family. Who the hell is Father Clark? The groom. Who the heck writes this? Like literally above the knees. Yeah, like literally right above the knees, and then like literally have him strapped to the table, and then you know what? And then literally right here, except you'd be probably strapped like the cut. Yes, I'm not showing my wiener, but yeah. Of course, your wiener is right between your knees and your belly button. Everyone knows that. Kill us, basically trying to burn the whole thing down. The pyromaniac dude you encountered in the mail worker who wrote this document, or you could even make a joke saying that Eddie tortured Pyro and Pyro escaped, but I kind of doubt that. Pyro would have probably been in the mail ward since before the slaughter, since he seems to lack any deformities the morphogenic engine could have caused, or he could have been through the engine himself, but whatevs, that's another story. And I don't know what to do what else for Outlast. I may do another video on like mistakes I found throughout the game, because the reason why I've been doing these Outlast videos is because I want to become a movie producer. That's why I made this channel and my other channel too. And one of the movies I plan is a film adaptation of Outlast, and whether I make 2 separate movies with the main campaign and the Whistleblower DLC, or just make it into just one movie showing Outlast and Outlast Whistleblower at the same time, so we can say, oh, so that's how the events correspond. But again, let me know in the comments when you think these documents were written, and where like a certain patient was when before the documents were written. And yeah, that's basically it for this video. Please like, sub, and peace.